Hi guys, real quick, Alex, what's going on? How many? Where you're gonna be by yourself for how long?
From the 19th to the 25th.
A week, huh? Just
Yep.
about.
That is actually really nice.
He's gonna nah, dude. It's fucked because you're gonna get used to the silence, and then you're like, when they get home, you're gonna be like, there's gonna be a couple days where you're like, man, I really miss them, and then you're gonna fast forward to like, you're just eating a fucking hoagie in your underwear on the couch, and you're like, God damn, I hope they never come back.
Yeah, I end up missing them. Like even if they go like for a day or two somewhere, I end up missing them right away.
I mean,
Now
I
my
can
3-year-old,
understand that, but Lewis is like,
someone
take
can
him, take him. Actually, can they take
take
him
him.
with them?
I Sometimes I just want to leave him outside.
Wait, what the fuck just happened? We're good, right? I don't know why. Is my Oh, okay, I'm back. I don't know why. Somehow my feed on the podcast got like all goofed up.
Are we
So
live?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
live.
Oh no, I don't like to leave my 3-year-old outside, guys. No, I do. He's a little cunt.
And just
Right?
just in case anybody from any sort of if your job ends in services is watching.
It
He
looks like that
fine.
door
There's
behind you is the door to hell.
Dude,
It's like
I was thinking the
That's the
same
door to
vibrating.
thing.
his room.
In the horror movie, that's the door that just like when he's got no lights on, opens behind him and he just fucking gets right into the fucking monitor.
Like host.
Yeah, that's the door. Like you pick a
Uh,
bad spot to sit. How could you do like I know you're in your own home, but I'm in a bomb shelter. Like I can't have that you have an open door or an open-ish door behind you. That would fuck with me.
and every
So
now and
I
then the light kind of pulses.
it's funny you say that because I was actually talking with my wife a couple days ago because we were talking about watching Skinamarink, the weird experimental horror movie.
Didn't like it.
But I told her I was like, still to this day, you can't tell me you don't get those weird like, like you're in the basement, you go to turn the light off, and your adult brain doesn't tell you like I should be fucking running
Yeah.
right to the
Yeah, no.
stairs. Like,
Yeah, literally for no reason too. And then like you hear things and it's like I'm an adult and I'm still going, nah, dude, it's the fucking ductwork. Like, shut up.
yeah, I don't think that feeling ever leaves you.
Hmm.
Alex is like, not me, bro. I go down in the basement. I got my knife slash brass knuckles with spikes, and I'm ready to go. He's like, I'm ready to cut a motherfucker.
But
Every
no,
time
it's
I
even it's even like if I hear my wife talk in her sleep, like I'm not religious and I love horror movies, but in my head it's like demon. I need to punch him in the face.
It's like, what the fuck?
shit, my wife likes to start conversations with me while she's sleeping.
That would be creepy with me. I don't know how I would handle that. I'd be
Does
like, wake
she
the
ever
fuck up!
does she ever do it like in her native tongue or
Yes, yes,
no? I couldn't. I
yes.
couldn't.
She
Alex is
she
holding
started
the pillow, just ready to.
I
one
love
time she
you.
was
I love you.
she was sleeping on the couch and Lindsay was on the other side of the couch and I was sitting in my chair that I had back then and we're watching a movie and all of a sudden Emmy just starts talking to us and we look over her and we're like, what? And then she starts talking to us, but then breaks into her language at the same time.
Matt would be loading up the shotgun.
Lindsay fucking grabbed her fucking stuff and ran to her bedroom. You're muted all the whole time.
I go from mild mannered me to James Woods in Vampires real quick.
But yeah, Lindsay grabbed all her shit and ran to her bedroom and I was like, will you come back here? Your mom's just sleep
It's
talking.
okay, mommy just has the devil in her. She's gonna be fine.
Oh man, I couldn't. And I was telling her the one day, I was like, you still, even as an adult, you still get those moments of like, did I see something? Was that weird? Should I be
So
running?
I probably have a legitimate reason to kind of be weary at 1 a.m. on my block. But like every now and then, I will run out of both bottles of water and cans of Diet or Dr Pepper Zero, and it's like I don't want regular water, so I gotta go to the car. And my new thing is that it doesn't matter the temperature. I go out in a cutoff, and I got a bottle. I got the case of water, and I don't. I'm fairly strong, so I literally just couple fingers and I'm good. And I'm just walking down my driveway like that, and just sometimes I'll bring my vape out on purpose. So like all you see is this cloud of smoke and this fucking giant fat man with cases of water. So I figure if that's not a deterrent enough, I guess I'll start packing to go to the car. But so far so good.
2 weeks ago, I was sitting right here playing a game,
2 weeks.
And it was like 1:30 in the morning, and somebody hit, because like the floor level's down by, down here. Somebody
Down
fucking
at the
banged
floor.
on my they banged on my wall. Well, I'm at the floor level outside because I'm raised up about 3 feet in the air.
You have people hitting on your wall
They
outside?
fucking hit my wall, and I looked, and I was like, I took off my headphones, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was listening, and nothing happened after that. I was like, okay. I
That's
just
when
went
you're
back to
like,
playing my
is
game.
it just too late? Am I fucking tired?
All right, at this point, I'm gonna send you like a Soldier of Fortune magazine or something, or come on down to the south side. We'll go to the range. I know I said it that way.
The
I'm
south side of Chicago
so
doesn't sound
all
like
right.
that.
So here is the thing. No, but there fucking are places that do even here. Here's the thing. You guys know where Tinley Park is, presumably, right?
Yeah.
So there is a part of Tinley Park that is redneck. And I would have never discovered this, but my dad found a gun online that he wanted to buy. And the only shop that had it was this one in Tinley. And I was like, oh, Tinley Park is nice, whatever. And then the drive is it just keeps going. And next thing I know, it's country for like 2 miles. And then like small town, as in there's one main road. And then just
like a little biome. Just to
yeah.
itself.
And then back to suburb
3
white
branch
people.
streets.
Yeah, like you literally go from hillbilly to Karen in like half a mile. It is the weirdest. Yeah, I was freaked out because I'm like, this is kind of a nice little town. And then I go into the gun shop and the dudes that are in there are just like, yeah, well, I always thought the 308 was the best rifle capacity you could use because, I mean, that'll drop them right one shot right in the heart of the head. And it's like, I'm looking around like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, this is because it's like, how did I get from Southside Chicago to Deliverance? Like, it was weird. I did not enjoy that experience. And my dad, because he's a Northside kid. Like, he was a Northside latchkey kid that fucking was running around railroad tracks and shit and doing stupid shit with his buddies. And he hadn't for a long time ventured out at all in this area. So he was in the car with me and I'm driving and he's like, what the fuck? It's like we're in a different state. He's like, where the fuck are we? And I was like, it's Tinley Park. He's like, where the concert place is? And I was like, yeah, where the Meyer and all that shit is. He's like, fuck. He was just like flabbergasted.
That's weird, but I believe.
Well,
it.
I mean, I will
It's a
say
weird
when I
little
first started
pocket.
dating my wife, I mean, we had that terrible, not first, it was a few years in, and we had a terrible snowstorm, and she still had the Aveo, and we couldn't get it out, and she busted to work, which was back on the south side. That's when we were living up north, and the next day I had to go get her, and driving on Western, not going to the south side since I was a kid, on Western Avenue from north side where we lived to wherever Western, Western and 87th was like, what the fuck? Where am I?
Yeah, that's a long drive.
And that was also before they put in the strip mall with the Meyer and all that shit. So it was all just golf course. And I was like, I didn't know where I was at all. I was completely out of my element and I felt like I was in a different fucking state. Like I have memories of being at the hospital with her dad, at the hospital that now I live 5 minutes from, and remember being there thinking like, where the fuck am I? This looks so fucking weird. And now
That was
that's
me
my neighborhood.
When I first came out to my wife's house that they lived in Paw Paw, I was like, what? I was being a city kid. I was like, I don't belong here. Like this is weird.
The only way,
Wah, wah.
and I'm going to say this, the only way you're going to get a city kid to adapt to rural is if you have a good amount of money and it's a nice property. It would have to be a modern property. That's it. Like you can't take a city kid and go, yo, we're going to give you kind of a piece of shit house in the country with unkept land. We're out. That's Texas Chainsaw. I'm gone. Like if you're trying to transport a city kid, you got to go with money on a nice fucking 2-acre shore, but that house better be hooked up with everything modern and blah, blah, blah. Believe it or not, kiddos, we are here to review a movie. And we got to talk about this because I'm a bit unhappy about it. We can't review Jackie Brown because none of us own it individually, or if we do, only one or two of us do. I don't own it, so I was planning on streaming it or buying it if I had to. It's not available. They've pulled.
Why, Matt?
Presumably, it's a little coincidental that Weinstein gets sentenced to an additional 16 years, thus basically making him in prison for life.
Was that just recently that
Yeah,
happened?
it was this week.
2 days ago. Yeah.
And as I said, these movies were on sale. Jackie Brown specifically, I forgot to buy, but it was on sale for $7.99 2 weeks ago. So like, the fact that it was on sale 2 weeks ago and then the licensing just gets cut is a bit odd, considering it's essentially the same week as he got. Now it could have happened last week, and I'm just blowing hot air, but either way, it's weird.
He said it's a witch hunt that he's falsely accused.
Oh, fuck him. I hope he slips
it-
taking a shower and fucking dies. That pig. Why haven't they graped him to death? White power assholes, you're useless for anything. We see you in movies graping everybody to death, but the one motherfucker that needs to get graped to death, you're like, I'm good, man. Like, fuck that guy. Somebody shiv him and watch his insides fall out.
Is it kind of ironic though that he was like perfectly fine going to parties, dude, and then as soon as he gets sentenced, he's like, I need a walker.
Yeah, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden his genitals are supposedly like rotting off or some shit like that.
Well, that was the whole, one of the rumors is like a lot of the women who came forward said his shit was all fucked up. I mean, I guess not to be a dick, but like, if you got a fucked up situation down there, like, why wouldn't you just say, you know what? I'll just get a nice like hooker who's getting paid to deal with my garbage. Like, what? Instead, you use your power, and now I think it's only fair to state the other obvious, which is, was his behavior appropriate? No, not in any way, but it was transactional for some.
Mm-hmm.
There are women that were made stars because they touched that disgusting fuck. But in the same turn, I mean, the fact that people, they made jokes about it. Like, people knew. And that's what's the most fucked up thing is it's like, it's the same dynamic as everybody clapping for Will Smith after he slaps Chris Rock. Like, you have no self-awareness. Like, you knew him. You were his friend. When you went to all of his parties, because if you didn't, you weren't guaranteed a role because Miramax was fucking huge at the time. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's all just a big fucking mess. And I just kind of wish he'd die.
Well, it's not anyway related because we were talking off the air, but it's also 2 episodes ago when we were supposed to review toys. That's sadly gone.
Yeah, I don't. Is 2023 the year of fucking licensing coming up? Like, I don't get what's going on with it.
I know it's a weird thing because you would think these production companies would still get a cut, just putting that movie out, even if it's not a certain quality.
The streaming networks are doing that too, like Netflix especially. They're dropping a lot of fucking titles.
Well, my only
right
thought
off their shit
in my thinking is maybe because there's so many moving parts as far as companies with licensing deals. It all depends on how many Disney snatched up. Because Disney may be going, we're gonna do a 4K upscale, put it on Disney Plus, and then we're gonna rebrand it and sell them digitally via Disney movies. Like, I can see that happening. I thought initially some of the maybe Jackie Brown was pulled because it was getting a 4K transfer. There was another movie I went to go buy the other day and you couldn't, and I had thought maybe they're doing a 4K rebranding transfer. Like, it's so fucked up right now because how many mergers are happening and how many moving parts are going on in the industry? It's kind of like. Also, you have things like iTunes removing movies from your fucking library. So,
it's affecting. Like I don't buy a lot of physical movies, except for horror movies.
I don't either because I literally my fucking physical movies, thanks to my wife, are relegated to 2 giant 50-gallon tubs. The big plastic tubs, because we had this big DVD stand, Blu-ray stand, that had supposedly like it was 700 or something like that, and we had maxed it plus. So her whole thing was like, we're gonna move it, and we'll put them all down, then we'll put it somewhere else, and then we pull them all off, and you realize like it's just a piece of shit stand now because it's had fucking 800 movies on it for how
Yeah.
long, and
My wife goes, just for Christmas, we'll take down the DVD stand. We took it down. It hasn't gone back up, and it's going on what, 4 years?
She knew what she was doing when
Jesus,
she
Yeah.
made
yeah.
that suggestion.
Well, like, and Jen even tried to say the other day, she was like, "No, we're gonna use it. We're gonna." I was like, "Really?"
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Like,
my issue I was gonna say though is with digital stuff not being released and being tied to streaming services, like I'm getting fed up with it. Like a lot of people, when they knew that Texas Chainsaw was gonna be put out by Netflix, the first thing people thought was, or the first thing people realized was like, okay, cool, so I'm not gonna be able to buy digital, and it's not gonna come out on physical. And that happened. And Hellraiser on Hulu, guess what? Can't buy it digital, can't buy it physical. Like, this is what's starting to piss me off about streaming services locking in certain things.
Muted.
Are you muted, Matt?
I'm stupid. You're having the same problem. I got Alex with that one. In gaming too. What's your situation with your physical Metroid Prime?
Oh,
It is severely
Backloaded.
delayed.
Yeah. Supposed to release 3 days ago.
Yeah. But I'm
did you
getting
buy it
sick of it.
twice?
Well, yeah,
The game's
bought
so
digital
nice. He
fucking
bought
annoying.
it twice.
Yeah, they got my 2 cents, so they better fucking port the other ones.
Oh,
But yeah, because Hellraiser you can't get, and Texas Chainsaw you can't get.
Which is interesting because they did publish and produce physical Blu-rays and 4Ks for Stranger Things.
Yeah,
Well,
but
maybe
yeah, man,
same thing with The Witcher.
it would be a shame if it would be a shame if I downloaded both those movies though and Blu-ray. That would be a shame. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Not saying that I did that, but that
yeah,
would be
it would be a
a shame.
shame if you had to go find a rip and
Yeah.
someone in Zimbabwe got blamed for it.
oh
How the fuck?
darn.
How the fuck is there internet pings in Zimbabwe? I never connect to that one. I don't want to get investigated.
Yeah,
Why are you connecting to Zimbabwe
I'm not
internet?
saying you should get a VPN and do that. You should not do that.
I mean, at this point, like I mean, you know me. When I was younger and had zero money, I bootlegged everything. Like I bootlegged movies, I bootlegged PC games. I was the biggest bootlegger I fucking knew. I didn't distribute, but it was I literally remember having games 2 weeks before. Like I had BioShock Infinite 2 weeks before it came out. Like, and I beat it before it came out. So like I was huge into that, and then once financially, I said I'm gonna stop bootlegging. Like certain things, Photoshop, but like movies, games, stuff like that, I I don't bootleg at all. And I'm at this point where it's like I can buy them, but I'm just kind of like fed up. Like at what between movies getting removed from my library and
Without your knowledge,
without
yeah.
my knowledge, without like you can't send me a fucking email, Apple, and said, "Hey, a movie in your library has lost licensing. We no longer have the license to sell it, so we are going to like." I don't. At that point, I paid $5 for it. More than likely, I don't necessarily need a refund. But fucking tell me, so I don't go to watch the movie and go, "Oh, where the fuck? I
Yeah,
thought we owned
well,
Airheads."
but it's even worse if you are, and you're not the minority, if you're a serious movie viewer, if you have a very extensive Voodoo or Apple collection, and to not be notified on a movie that you might not know is missing because you've bought in so many movies, like that's, I don't know, that's bullshit. Like,
It's one, and that was the whole thing. Is it's like, I mean, I bought the fucking movie, and I'm not even going to be one of those people that bitches about the monetary value. I'm going to bitch about the fact that you stole from me.
yeah, you paid for the rights to stream that
Yeah.
whenever you want.
You
should
stole
be
it from me,
notified.
and
But-
you didn't even fucking say anything. Like you didn't even give me a reach around. You fuck.
But in the terms and conditions that nobody reads, that's there that you agreed to, it
Yeah.
says that they have the right to take it.
Of course,
That's it.
I have the right to fill a couple bottles with gasoline.
What was the movie? Airheads? Was that the
Airheads,
one?
man.
Yeah.
You know what though? That is one of those movies. I'm pretty sure I was in Walmart because we used to go to Walmart a lot, and nowadays it's like, I don't know, man. I have a hard time stepping foot into that fucking place.
I was gonna make a joke about mass shootings, but I'm not going to. Anyways, I can understand.
Well, in Illinois, you
why
can't
people
buy
don't like
guns there
Walmart.
anymore.
Yeah, no, being in Walmart is just like in purgatory. You're just waiting for something to happen.
Like, yeah, we used to go there a lot, and I'm almost positive I fished Airheads out of the $7.99 bin they used to have. You know, it's where all the white trash would shop. Fucking kids diving in like it was a goddamn ball pit at a McDonald's. And and yeah, and so I had the physical, and I that one I've pulled out of the Tubbo Blu-rays, and there's some movies like I still have discs just kind of fucking. But my plan at this point, I'm gonna get 2 giant CD wallets that holds like 500 each. I'm gonna go through the tubs and slot every single Blu-ray in there, store the cases, and do it that way. It's either that or I go get a spinning carousel like a fucking mall kiosk. Like I don't know what to do. Why don't they make jukeboxes for Blu-rays? Remember when CD players were the big thing? There was like, hey man, a 20 disc changer. Like, what happened to that technology? I've never seen a 5 Blu-ray disc player.
I had one of those in my old car, and I would have to get out of the car, open the trunk to load the CDs. It was not as cool as you would think.
Totally practical for driving. Yeah. I mean, but then, you know, iPods changed the world as far as driving with music, as far as moving with music. And then cell phone changed the world with as far as music in your hand, anytime, anywhere. Because even Spotify, you can download the tracks, and all you need is just a little bit of a connection to authenticate them.
If I can get rid of this fucking phone, I'd throw this thing in a goddamn ocean.
What phone?
I'm sick of it. Cell phones. I'm so fucking.
Do you remember you and I bought iPod videos at the same time at the same Best Buy?
Yeah, mine was like the gray.
Yeah, we went, I think, to see Transformers.
Yes.
And we went to the Best Buy. I think it was Barrington we went to. And we went somewhere. And we went to the Best Buy because Tim loves suburban theaters. So we went to the Best Buy. I think it was around your birthday time, and you had birthday money, and I still had birthday money left over. And we each were like, dude, they got an open box iPod, and they're fucking flawless. And they had 2 of them. We bought each of them.
Yeah.
That iPod lasted me for fucking years. I mean, until I got an Android that was decent, I still use that iPod.
That was the days of back then fucking downloading music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's like that was one of those things that I was always scared of because I acquired the large
peer-to-peer sharing sites.
Oh, dude, do you remember MIRC? MIRC was you get a fucking DOS window and you're typing in the command. Literally, the command you were typing in was the command to make it pull through the internet, this other dude's server, and then you would get like most of the tracks and then one's missing, or you would get different quality in the tracks where one would be super loud and one would be super low. God, and then every now and then you'd get a virus and or a porn video shoved in there. It was really Russian roulette for bootlegging back then. And then the other what Kazaa made it easy for people. I was
LimeWire.
See, I didn't use LimeWire Kazaa because of the spyware shit. I was always a BitTorrent guy. But then BitTorrent, you would go on like the Pirate Bay, and there would be a specific way you would kind of have to hopscotch through it. Like you'd have to be like, no, okay, I gotta find the one that has the skull, okay, and then I gotta see how many uploads they have. Okay, they've got 100 uploads. Okay, let me see.
How big is the file? Because it's really like 2 songs I'm looking for. Like if it's extremely large, it's porn.
Well, then if it was video games, it was like, you know, okay, so this is 4 gig. That makes sense. Okay, and then it was like, how many? What are these guys saying about this thing? And then you'd read the comments on the specific download, and you'd have like a quarter of the comments would be like, I can't get it to fucking work. This thing sucks. And then the other comments would be like, it's easy to work. I'm running it flawlessly. You just gotta fucking do this. And it was like this angry arguing over illegally downloading shit. It was, yeah, man. I spent a lot of hours just, hey, skull. Oh, Oh, they got Need for Speed The Run. Okay.
Yeah, I loved the comments that are like, "This is ridiculous. I wasted my time downloading this," and it's like, well, you did it illegally, you
Well,
dipshit. So
well, then because internet was so slow, it would literally be like, "This took me 3 nights."
Yeah. I need this
constantly going
last
back
song
to
from the
check on
fucking
the
album.
loading window.
Yeah, don't
The
forget.
last song you never get fucking from the
Yeah,
album.
that last percentage. And don't forget the seeding comments. Don't forget the fucking seed. I'm trying to download this. And people who are still downloading are like, but then they would download and be like, bye. And that was me too, because I wasn't going to leave my
Oh,
connection open any longer.
I
Yeah.
never seed. Never.
Like, I would set the seed to the minimum,
The
and
minimum,
the download
2
to
or
the
3.
maximum. So, like, but I would figure they had a calculation in there that, like, there's a script in there that's like, yeah, fuck you, buddy. And it rebalances it. Because I never got good downloads. Even when I had high-speed internet, it was always fucking, oh, God.
There were certain days of the year though that it was like good to just download everything. It
Yeah,
was
or
just
a
weird how
certain
it worked
time of the
out.
day, depending like where you're at.
Yeah, you would, like, man, those times when you go to download something and it was fast and you're just like, come on, you could do it, you fucking slut. You could fall, you can do it. Yeah.
98, 99.
Yeah, and then it went to 0, and you were like, and then you're just watching the timer, and it went from like 23 seconds to 6 hours, and you're like, you bitch. And then it was like, and then real quick, it would fucking finish. You're like, oh, okay, we're good. Cancel, because not my connection's no longer open. I remember I downloaded Max Payne, I think, for the stuff for Android or some shit, and that was the only thing that ever got flagged from Comcast.
Really?
Out of the terabytes of things I've done, Max Payne for Android, and that's when I got a Kindle Fire, and I hacked it, and I was like, I'm fucking see if Max Payne could run, so I downloaded it. Yeah,
Did it run on there?
Yeah, oh yeah. The Kindle Fire was great if you hacked the fucking thing. All you had to do was bypass the OS and sideload shit, and once you did that, I mean, especially if you were downloading the APKs of the games, which were like a meg each. So you bootleg a shitload of those, sideload them into the Kindle Fire, and it didn't have an SD slot, so you'd have to like upload it to a thing and then download it from this thing, and then it would you would have to download an app that would create a feed to a server and blah blah blah. And then once you bootleg, you can play whatever the fuck you wanted on it.
Sounds pretty easy.
I couldn't do it. I don't remember a goddamn thing about the Kindle Fire. I got an iPad. I'm better than those people. Actually, the new Kindle
Fire still.
The new Kindle Fires do look kind of nice. I am a big fan of the Kindle Paperwhite.
Those
I've got the second gen.
anti-theft commercials about stealing, and it'd be like, "You wouldn't steal a car, would you?" And it's like, "Yeah, if I could."
Well,
There's people doing that every day.
That depends. Is each car worth $1.95? Because if the car's worth $2, yeah, I probably would fucking steal it. That's a misdemeanor.
If it was $1.96, that's a fucking felony.
If the car costs
$1.95,
well, if the car costs the same as a Snickers, why not fucking steal it? Like, who cares? What's gonna happen? Oh, I stole your Snickers. Oh, I'm sorry, I crashed it. Here's a $5. I'll do 2 of them. Like, who the fuck cares? I don't.
Your Snickers into a fucking.
Oh, look at that! I'll tell you what. I ruined your Snickers. Here's a Twix, 2 for $1, a $5. In fact, I'm gonna buy another one to crash on the way home. They're $2.
These are all left. I want the right one.
Can you imagine if cars were that cheap? Where it's like if the car itself was like a few $100s, but your license was 10 grand.
Oh shit!
Speaking of crashing cars, we should probably talk about tonight's feature.
Oh, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about because we only got one fucking movie. Good transition.
That's true. Although I guess we can mention the movie it came out with. When Deathproof and Planet Terror came out, did any of you guys see it in theater? The like double showing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. No, not the double showing. No,
I did. It was awesome.
And it had like the commercials, everything. Man,
Yeah, it
I
had the
wish I
intermission
could've-
commercials. It had the Nazi werewolf. What were the trailers? The Nazi werewolves of the SS.
The one that's like don't.
Yeah, don't. There was I can't remember. There was another one that I think Rob Zombie directed. Nazi werewolves of the SS.
Wasn't there the killer turkey? Thanksgiving.
Eli Roth directed the Thanksgiving or whatever the fuck it was called.
Who is a shit actor in this? Like literally shit actor.
Oh, he's a shit actor in general.
He's a
in
good
Glorious
producer.
Bastards, he was good.
Was
He's
he?
a good producer.
Was he? Was he good in Inglourious Bastards?
Better than fucking Death Proof.
I would have
Was he
rather
the
had
Bear
Adam
Grylls?
Sandler. You want to know why? Because that's who Quentin Tarantino wrote the fucking role for.
Yeah, but
Really?
then as he's walking away, he'd do the like shibba and then
I killed a Nazi. Shabadoo. Shampoo is better. Brain smash.
yeah, we were talking, and Death Proof is a good movie, but really the only way you should watch this movie, it should be with Planet Terror and the commercials all as one cut.
Otherwise, get rid of the bullshit filters. Get rid of the fuck up in the film. Just make it a movie. It's labeled as his fifth feature film. Get rid of the filters. Get rid of the effects of the, I mean, even if you want to keep some of the filters, but get rid of the film skipping bullshit and that stuff. Get all of that out of there and just make it a regular fucking movie.
If you got rid of that and kind of like the I have it on the TV for like the fourth fucking time. If you got rid of that and maybe like the film grain, it'd probably clean up pretty nice.
I will say, I remember the trailer. And one of the coolest things I remember seeing in a trailer was the scene where she's on the hood and he's there. They go in like they get diverted into a field and they're kind of driving around each other. And there's a shot where he's just dead looking at him as he's driving in a circle. In the trailer, they show that and then they freeze it. And it's literally he's staring right the fuck at them as the driving is cool. The problem is there's too much talk, and the talk's not that great in this one.
In the first hour, there was too much talk.
Yeah, the dialogue's kind of dumb. Like, I like the stuntman Mike dialogue. I absolutely hate Tracy Tom's dialogue. Like, I get it, whatever, but like, you gotta keep talking. Like Tarantino, it was shit writing for him for her role at the second half when they're attacking him. Is I'm gonna come in them. I'm gonna bust a nut, and it's like, this is stupid fucking dialogue. Crispy Critters, this is stupid dialogue.
She's actually in what's it called, 911 now, and she's nothing like that actress that she was there.
I remember.
Wait, who is she?
Tracy Toms. She was
The
in Rent,
driver.
I believe, or AIDS or Kids or whatever the fuck it is. One of them.
Isn't she?
That's
a
Rosario
stunt,
Dawson.
Is she a stunt woman?
Dude, is
No,
it just me or
Zoe
was
Bell is?
Zoe Bell, yeah.
Zoe
I think
Bell,
she
okay.
actually did some of the stunt work for Kill Bill.
What do you say about Rosario?
Was she not that attractive in this movie? Like, neck down, sure. But her haircut eyebrow combo was disgusting.
I think the haircut is what made her look
She
like
literally had a Batman's cowl for a haircut. Think about it. It was terrible.
That is a specific request at a hair salon that you asked
Yeah,
for.
yeah. You tell him, all right, so what do you want to do? And she pulls out her child's Batman mask. Just shave around it.
she pulled out a picture. Michael Keaton.
Okay, so I'm angry because I watched The Flash. The movie looks cool, but I want DC to burn. Fuck DC.
Oh, the trailer.
The trailer?
Yeah.
It's all like, hey, I'm James Gunn and we got all this new cool stuff, but we're keeping this cult leader because the movie's probably pretty fucking good and people will like it.
Wait, he apologized though.
I don't give a fuck. Mel Gibson apologized. Who cares? He's still a fucking verbally abusing, more than likely racist drunk. I don't give a fuck if you apologize. Hey, I know I ran down your family while I was drunk driving, but I'm sorry.
Hey, if the WWE could forgive Hulk Hogan, I mean, why can't?
You know what? He's a white dude who grew up in Florida. Of course he says the fucking N-word. Surprise, surprise. Redneck says N-word. Come on. His vitamins were steroids.
Followed by brother.
His prayers were to his fucking accountant.
Brother.
Fucking... How is anybody surprised that Hulk Hogan and or Dog the Bounty Hunter throws an N-word out there every now and then? Or a lot. If you told me, yo, Dog the Bounty Hunter seems cool on TV, but that guy is a horrible racist, I would go, I assumed. I still like the show.
Blonde hair, mullet.
Well, I mean,
leather gloves.
you're a white dude from Colorado and you walk around Hawaii. Yeah, bruh. You want a cigarette, bruh? Who the fuck is this albino Jesus? Get the fuck out of here.
You are also describing Steven Seagal. I hope you know that.
Steven Seagal is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal looks like at this point of his life, his legs retract into his stomach so he can roll. Fuck
He's got
Steven
such
Seagal.
fancy handwork,
Like,
though.
that's like his Metroid morph ball.
Yeah, he can turn into like he's half Dr. Robotnik, half Metroid Morph Ball. I love the videos where he claims to have taught UFC fighter people, and then the other fighters like, yo, he was doing that kick way before he met Seagal.
All right, no, but for real, when are we going to review some shitty Steven Seagal movies?
I mean, sky is the limit.
I'm not talking about his whole discography. I'm talking maybe the top two absolutely worst Steven Seagal.
I really like Exit
Can you-
Wounds, even though
can
it's
you
not
just-
that great of a movie.
Can we do Steven Seagal and like Van Damme together? Like the bad ones?
See, but the problem is Van Damme's got some really bad ones, as does Seagal. And Van Damme's ones are less laughable because Seagal went the goofy-ish route, and Van Damme. Have you ever seen the movie In Hell?
No, but it just
Which one's
sounds.
that one?
That's the
The
one
one
where
with the
he's
motorcycle?
no, that's where he's in prison fighting, and I think the last guy he fights, he gouges the eyes out of, like
Van Damme
horrible.
does?
Yeah,
Okay.
he went a weird route where they were all European funded, and they didn't it was just weird, violent movies. They weren't good. They were depressing, as everything coming out of fucking Eastern Europe is.
See, but I also think it has to be fat Steven Seagal. So,
Oof,
like,
yeah. All right, so what about the one with him and Mike Tyson? It's a
Was
newish.
he in a movie with Mike Tyson?
Within the past 5 years, I believe, he was
Was
in
it
a
good?
movie. No, the fight scene they have is just, yeah. No, it's not good. I'd be
Wasn't
willing
that
to. I'd be willing to review that one. You know why Steven Seagal was never an IP man? Because he's fucking Steven Seagal. That's why. Nobody would invite him to be in that legitimate martial arts movie.
He's in some stinkers. Wow. So recently.
I'm
as
gonna-
of- as of-
Oh yeah, they're all Russian funded. He's now a Russian fucking citizen. I'm gonna look up Mike Tyson because he has less movies to his fame credit than Steven Seagal. He pumps out 17 a fucking year. What movie was he on? AEW fucking Rampage. Get out of here.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up.
Did you spell Mike Tyson right?
This movie was on Netflix, I believe, at one point. Yeah, Deadly Contract. Or, I'm sorry, there's two names for it. One of them is called China Salesman, and one of them is called Deadly Contact. But
Ooh, Kill Switch would be a good Steven Seagal movie to
Thi-
review.
this movie has a fight scene between the two of them, and it basically looks like a Bollywood fucking fight scene without the dancing. Check it out in your spare time. Deadly Contact and or China Salesman. He's selling China.
Is Under Siege 2 a terrible movie? I can't remember.
I like that movie, but it's pretty cheesy. I mean, you got to remember, like, it's all he's on a train with his niece, and so you have those scenes of like, my uncle's gonna, or no, you don't even really. I think towards the end, but you literally have the dialogue of the guys going, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And they can't figure it out who it is, and he's like, then 10 minutes later, it's like, he's wiped out 3 of us. This ain't no fucking ordinary passenger, man. And then so you have the tough guy. Like, it doesn't compare to the first one in any way. How can you, though? Tommy Lee Jones and fucking Gary Busey before the weird eye thing and horse teeth?
I'm seeing a lot of lists that name Contract to Bomb as one of Steven Seagal's, Contract to Kill as one of Steven Seagal's worst movies.
There is the movie he was in the Sniper franchise, to which he just lays down the whole time. His whole
Eats fucking hoagies on the side.
Well, his whole thing is he's in the sniper nest the whole movie on his stomach, just laying there. I want to make
wonder how much that,
I want to make a
that
movie.
paycheck was.
I want to make a movie where I just lay there as a sniper, and the fucking Russians are like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "I want 10 million rubles." I don't know if
This is what I
rubles
want,
is Russian.
So
Tarantino's last film has to be a Steven Seagal led horror movie.
Yeah, he already did that. It was a ripoff of Blade.
so Steven Seagal's last movie was in 2019, Beyond the Law with DMX.
Dude, how stupid are you to make a movie in the 90s called Above the Law and then you make a movie 30 years later called Beyond the Law? How fucking arrogant. That's like having two sons and naming them both after your first name.
So that's I knew this kid I worked with in Chicago at the AutoZone before I moved. His name was Flavio, which is a weird Mexican name, but he had a
Flauta?
deadbeat dad that left. His mom had a kid with a new chick and named him his name.
Oof.
So he like ditched his kid and had 2.0 and
Well,
just
okay, I'm gonna go a little at the risk of going a little Andrew Tate-ish here. How much did he have to hate that mother to go find another woman, have a kid with that person, and then take charge and name the child? Like, do you think like the whole time he wanted to name the kid after him and the mother wouldn't let him? And they named him that and he's like, fucking motherfucker. And he's just like goes and fucks somebody else and names the kid after himself.
The funny thing was he
Oh,
was the
he was-
nicest. He was like the nicest dude I've ever met. We would always make jokes about how he was replaced, though. Anyways, weird tangent, but
So, okay, so I will say this is one of his weaker dialogued movies. Even the scene where they're in their bar wasn't very strong. Like I said, I will say Stuntman Mike's dialogue is great for the most part. Because it all leads to the eventual. Like and I sent you that text about Barbarian. And my point about it is if you watch Barbarian alongside this, very similarly, they have the same cutoff time point of when the stories change. And it's essentially the same story told differently. So just watching this one really reminded me of like, I'm not saying Tarantino's the first to invent that style. I'm just saying seeing this movie again and seeing the same pacing and style as Barbarian, it's kind of a one-to-one in the style of how they tell the story. It's odd. It's a
no,
decent device.
yeah, I can see that. It's almost like stylized, like Deathproof is. Like I get what you mean, like not copying it, but
No,
um,
it's just that idea of like, I have two stories to tell, and I think the best way to do it is not let the audience know these are two stories until that first story abruptly ends. It's that sort of device. And I liked it in Barbarian, and I actually liked it. I remembered it, going through it, but I liked it in this one too.
but I wonder as far as the dialogue, like I don't want to say phoned in, but I wonder if both of these projects were kind of fast and loose because they were going for Grindhouse and maybe a quick turnaround.
I'm going to argue part of it is Tarantino's not a great writer for women. You have
That
you
yeah,
have you have Kill Bill, but
and
name me another movie where his women characters really stand out. Uma Thurman was all right in Pulp Fiction,
he
but then
also
you also
recycled.
but Pulp Fiction, and then the other female character you see a lot of is Bruce Willis's girlfriend, who was just kind of like a confused foreigner.
That's true.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah, I'd agree with you that he's
he
not.
does. He does also recycle lines for himself. That's an odd, that tasty beverage. Like he
Yeah,
and
he's
and
got to
his.
be in his movies. He was also in Planet Terror. I believe he gets brutally murdered.
Mm, I gotta watch that
Well,
one again.
he speaking about being in his movies and recycling stuff, he did make I watched so many fucking interviews with the dude. I watched an interview where someone asked him, like, do you watch your own movies? And he's like, yeah. And the interviewer was caught off guard. And they're like, what do you mean you watch your own movies? And he's like, I fucking make the movies for me. Why would I not watch them? Which I think is kind of cool as a director.
I
Like,
also appreciate like he's like, no, I'm not going to comment on people's movies. Like, you want me to comment on a movie from the '40s? Sure. He's like, but why would I do that? He's like, then it's out there. I said something. He's like, whether it's negative or positive, then it becomes, oh, Tarantino said this about this movie.
Yeah,
He's like, and I don't need that. He's like, I'll watch them, sure. He's like, but I don't need to comment about them. I don't need to give you my opinion on them. And I appreciate that because he understands that he does have quite a bit of gravitas in the industry.
yeah. But I remember when this movie came out, I didn't get to see them together. I remember I got the cool covers from
The dual disc Blu-ray.
Blockbuster. No, the DVD is from Blockbuster back in the day, and then I did eventually get the dual disc Blu-ray.
well, yeah, the
Um,
foldable case dual disc. That was a cool little package.
yeah, but I remember liking this movie when it came out. As it's aged, and especially with coming all the way up to his last movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is dialogue driven, a bit weaker. But even like the dude still has it. I mean, the last movie he put out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like how many directors do you see that far in their catalog of work that are like that movie? Just like he's like firing in all cylinders. So that's why I feel like this movie kind of being in the middle. I wonder if it was just kind of like, oh, Robert Rodriguez, we're gonna get these grindhouse movies out. Like,
Well,
we'll
part of
see if they do good.
Yeah.
I think also part of it is the dialogue was meant to be like like that, like coming to this summer movie theater, and it's like
It's supposed to be
you
cheesy
know,
shit. That,
I will say this movie, the filming of the car chases and all that, amazing.
Oh, super amazing.
The ending of the first story is pretty like it takes the moment where he's like, well, see, if you were going left, you wouldn't start getting scared for a while. That
Yeah.
beautiful piece of where he's like, but since you're going the other way, you're just gonna have to start getting scared right now. Like that's awesomely creepy, and that's why I'd like to see him do a horror movie.
Yeah,
But
because even in Glorious Bastards, just the dialogue in the opening scene, like that's all horror aesthetic. Like I think
Yeah.
he can do it.
I will say this movie goes from kind of average to amazing as soon as he gets shot.
Yeah.
He's screaming, dude. When he gets flipped and he's hanging out of the, dude, Kurt Russell made this. The whole time he's screaming, like when he first gets shot, I'm chuckling, and then when they're chasing him and he's screaming, I'm full on belly laughing. His scream when he's like, like, dude,
Yeah.
Jen and I were belly laughing.
I felt so bad for Jack Barton, the old Jack Burton from fucking Big Trouble Little China. You know what
Oh,
Jack
his
Burton
character
always
name.
says.
That is
Yeah.
that is such a racist fucking movie, but
Well,
I love it.
But
Hey man, they had to take some roles, didn't they?
like every time I would hear him talk, I kept hearing that Jack Burton character. Like, you know what Jack Burton always says, especially when he was doing the whole talking to her at the beginning when he was talking to Butterfly. And
I have
shit.
to watch that movie again. Like, are you just saying it's racist because the overtly Asian portrayals? Okay. The Bobby
You
Lee
know what
syndrome.
sucks is a younger Kurt Russell. If Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was made 10 years ago, Kurt Russell, like that country twang Kurt Russell, would be so great in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, he could have. Well, I mean, it all depends on the script. You gotta wonder if Terrence. I mean, you gotta remember, Death Proof wasn't when it released wasn't designed to be like his fifth feature film.
No, it also made no money.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be like a big thing. It was designed to be like, oh, he's doing this, but he's just it's kind of a fun thing for him.
It says that the box office made 37 million.
I don't know what
I
the
think
budget
the budget was around like 30 though.
Yeah.
Or that's
Nothing for
probably just
budget.
for his film though. I don't know if it
Or 31 million, sorry.
I don't know if it combines Robert Rodriguez's with that.
See, it would be. I think it's stupid if they don't just to do the whole Grindhouse's budget. You know what I mean?
But I mean, even I remember when these movies came out, like Grindhouse films were before us, and for them to put out a project like this, it was just fucking cool at the time.
Seeing it in theaters, there hasn't been another one that's replicated it as well. Since there is nothing out there that would like, and that's why I really wish they would just release a 3.5 hour cut of this where it's everything in there, and if you want to go ahead and pause it and do it, but at least get the full experience. I do wish somebody would take this. Like, I could recut it, but then I'd go to I'd get fucking copyright strike.
I was reading some of the goofs and stuff that they put in IMDb, and it's about what people says is wrong with the movie, and they keep pointing out stuff that makes it the Grindhouse movie, that makes it
That was done
70s
intentionally.
throwback. It was done intentionally, and they're like, well, at this point, the mirror disappears, and then it's back there. And then it's like, yeah, that's part of the thing. Oh, she had lipstick on in this scene, but in the same scene, she didn't have it. That's what happened back in the day with all those fucking movies.
I'm also surprised you didn't have comments like, then she pulled out a cell phone, and this is supposed to be the 70s.
And it's like, no, it's not. It makes you believe it's the 70s up until somebody says something about the internet,
you know,
and she breaks up the cell phone.
this movie is almost like Tarantino meets Kevin Smith. It's kind of Clerks meets fucking a
Okay.
Tarantino flick, because it does kind of have that like shithole. We're at the Quickie Mart, the Circle 8 cinema, places where they
The
visit.
Circle
and-
K.
Yeah,
Which are
Have you
like
popping
guys
up all over
watched Clerks
Chicago.
3?
what's that?
Not yet.
Have any of you watched 3?
Yeah, I have. I don't want to spoil anything.
I have not seen it
Sad.
yet.
Like pathetic sad.
No, it's surprising. It's funny. I enjoyed it. It does.
Is it recycled?
Well, yeah, but intentionally. Like,
But Smith also does. He recycles.
like
shit, too.
there's a scene where they play the floor hockey on the roof with their buddies. Like, they bring in a lot of and it's all the original dudes from the original Clerks that are playing. Like, the concept I think for him was he's definitely wrapping up that storyline. And I think for him it was more like, no, I want everything that we did in the original. I want everything because the whole concept is he's making a movie about his life. Randall is, because he has a heart attack.
Yeah.
So they bring in like all of the old people, and it's a good movie. I really don't want to spoil things, but it does punch you right in the fucking chest. Almost twice. But if you're a man, you take a piss, you're fine. My dad used to punch me in the chest. I was fine. What would you guys
There was
give?
blood later when I took a piss.
Yeah, I would
it's
cough
fine.
up blood. When he gave me the kidney shot, I would, I'd shit diamonds. As far as hot dogs on this, I'm still gonna go ahead and give it a 3.5. But I still gotta maintain, without Kurt Russell's over exaggerated looniness at the point of, basically for me, like I said, this movie gets 200% better as soon as he gets shot. And whether it be the car, the cinematography, the stunt work, I will say Zoe Bella's a fucking badass.
Oh,
Unfortunately, any movie that she's ever tried to star in has been garbage, low budget shit. But as a stunt woman and performer, she's a badass, and she's charming too.
She was Xena's fucking
Was she
stunt
really?
double. Yeah.
The whole scene where she gets thrown off the roof after they spin out and she shoots them, and she's like, "I'm okay." Like that was that was a nice break of tension.
And it's funny because the grass is so high and I used to use a hand. I'm okay, and then she falls back.
And her fucking Australian accent. But yeah, 3.5 for me. 3.5 hot dogs on this one. As far as just watchability, besides that last 15, 20 minutes, this is probably on the lower end of what I would say I'd be able to rewatch these movies. This would probably be at the bottom as of right now.
For me, it's a three hot dogs because I remembered it that I liked it when I first watched it, but when I watched it this time, it took me 3 tries to go through it. I kept falling asleep before the first 30 minutes because the dialogue and stuff just wasn't keeping me intrigued enough into it. Till I finally sat back here and I started from the beginning and I watched it all the way through. And the first hour, it was okay. That would be like a 2 for me.
It didn't have the Tarantino sharpness to it just didn't.
No, and the only time it did was when he talked. That's what I was saying.
Or when Stuntman Mike talked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So there was only 2 characters out of that whole first hour that actually had the Tarantino writing in that it made
like
me feel
his
like it was
whole thing
Tarantino.
about the bar, the nachos. Those nachos look good.
Yeah.
I was watching him scarf those down, and I'm like, man, I can go for some fucking nachos.
But everything from that last hour on, I liked it. I really did. So that's what made it a 3 for me.
So I know this is a Tarantino review, but which Grindhouse movies do you like better, Planet Terror or Death Proof?
I like Planet Terror better.
Planet Terror is a more fun movie.
Yeah.
It's a zombie bloodbath. It's also, I think Planet Terror is better in the Grindhouse design. Like there's the one scene in Planet Terror when it's like, everybody, we need to prep for what's coming, and then the film skips and the fucking building's on fire. Like whatever was, So like, I think the charm of the Grindhouse style fits Planet Terror more.
They tried to do that with this one with the whole black and white for the first 5-10 minutes of the second hour. And shit like that.
Yeah, I'd also argue that a better Grindhouse pairing with Planet Terror would have been Machete if it would have been made already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if Robert Rodriguez was going to do it himself, Machete and Planet Terror.
For me, this is I'm gonna go with a 3.5 as well. It's my favorite of the two Grindhouse films, but I also one of the movies I watched when I was younger that kind of stuck with me. That was definitely it was a movie I shouldn't have watched when I was young. Not old enough to watch RoboCop yet, but Vanishing Point was a movie I saw when I was super young and thought it was so fucking cool. And I remember when the trailers were coming out for Death Proof, a lot of people were comparing it to like Bullet and Vanishing
Dude,
Point.
Bullet, those shots of the camera on the hood facing inward.
Yeah,
When he did those shots in this, I was like, dude, I want to watch Bullet now. So fucking bad.
yeah, and they're up until Death Proof, there had not been anything quite like that. And
There still really
um,
isn't because you can't consider Fast and the Furious that style.
oh god,
Are you talking
Um,
about Vanishing Point with Viggo Mortensen or the
no,
71?
no,
the
no, 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 no,
original.
no, no, no.
Or the
The
Steve
71
McQueen.
version?
71, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Death Race 2000 was another one of those movies that was
Or
filmed in
sorry,
that weird overtop way.
Bullet Head Steve McQueen, not Vanishing Point. Vanishing Point, if you haven't seen it, is about a guy who boosts cars, and by the end he gets drugged out and crashes it into a fucking construction thing and explodes.
It's not a happy movie.
Not a heavy movie. But yeah, I liked Death Proof better than Planet Terror. I still think you should watch them both together.
Yeah.
But I also agree that as the movie aged and it's not really in the Grindhouse gimmick, if you watch it by itself, it kind of hurts it.
Yeah, I'd
And
say
it's not,
watching it by itself, strip all the Grindhouse filters and shit, and just put it as a regular movie, and you would have been if he would have presented it the same way he presented Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, different story.
yeah, well, I remember even when like the DVDs and Blu-rays came out, like the fucking all the grindhousey part was like in the DVD extras, and it's like no, it should have
Yeah,
been
all of the
spliced together.
trailers and the
Mhm.
intermission screen and all that shit was only in the extras.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna go 3 out of 5.
All
What
right,
was the other movie we were gonna review that we said
Jackie
was
Brown.
It was supposed to
Jackie
be
Brown?
Jackie Brown, which I've never
Which
seen.
I have not seen. I don't think any of us
I
have
would
seen.
not. I
I
a
was
long
looking
time
forward
ago,
to
but I don't
watching
fucking
it.
remember it. I really wanted to watch it as well. I should have fucking bought it. Next week is to be determined. It'll be Alex and I. Then the week after that is also to be determined, but it'll be the four of us.
If you guys want a movie to shit on, watch Megan.
But then I gotta watch Megan. I watched this movie called Slayers, starring former Punisher Thomas Jane. What a shit pile.
I liked him as the Punisher.
I did
know
too. You ever see the short film they did with him in it? They did another one
Might
and it
have a
was
long
called
time ago.
Dirty Laundry, I think. And it was him basically portraying Punisher again, where he's trying to do his laundry, and then he stops like a gang of dudes and just wipes them out.
I like
You're gonna
Thomas
say
Jane.
Art the Clown came in to fucking do his
Dude,
laundry while he was there.
You got to give him credit though in the Punisher, man. Like he did as much of the stunt work as he could. I was listening to Kevin Nash's podcast, and he talked about Thomas Jane and that scene where he gets whipped through the brick wall and hits the other wall. That's all real. Like
Oh,
he
nice.
he literally broke his rib, I think they said when he did that, and that whole crawling thing was him before he passed out. Like he
Oh
did.
shit, a lung. Lung.
He did as much as he could, I guess. Like he accidentally stabbed Kevin Nash, and then Kevin Nash accidentally stabbed him.
Oh.
Like in the scene where they stab each other. So yeah, it did. I gotta give Thomas Jane credit. He was better than Ray Stevenson. Okay, I like that movie because it's a gory, crazy fucking movie. But why did they fucking cast him as the Punisher?
Yeah, it's a violent movie, which is awesome, but he was not
Not
the right
a good
choice.
choice at all. I mean, Frank Grillo, still, I will maintain at 50 whatever fucking years of age he is, would be a decent Punisher. Short, but jacked. And pretty decent. I like him.
You mentioned Kevin Nash. I just rewatched the first John Wick. And he plays one of the Russian bodyguards.
So do you understand that scene?
with
When he asks him
Nash?
how much weight he lost?
Yeah.
That conversation, he didn't lose any weight. He's asking him how many dudes are in there. When he tells him about 40 kilograms, there's 40 dudes in there.
Okay.
Like that's that whole conversation is he's actually in code asking him how many fucking dudes am I running into?
I love those movies so much.
The new one's looking
I still
good.
have to watch 2 and 3.
You haven't seen them?
No, I've never
Dude,
watched it.
they bring in the guys from the Raid in number 3. And some of the fight scenes in that, I mean, the opening fight scene when he's going through the knife museum is just fucking hardcore.
I'm gonna try to push
It's
through
a
both of those this
ridiculous
weekend.
scene, but it's so good. They're just dumb fun
They're
movies.
they're just. I mean, the problem with the like. Oh, have you seen? I don't remember the name of it. It's called like Jurg or something, but it's a movie about this like dude behind enemy lines in Nazi Germany just fucking slaughtering Nazis. It's a foreign movie. I'll find the thing. Susi. I think it's Susi. And I just watched a trailer for that today. It looks fucking pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody, we're done. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Wear a condom. Protect your
Or
drinks.
don't, and then you have a 3-year-old.
Yeah, or you know, I mean, my body, my choice, right? You can feel free to murder that little
Or your
motherfucker.
kid's gonna be going off to college next year.
You know, ladies, he should have paid attention. Ladies, cover your drinks, the whole hoopla. I'm not a bar culture guy, so I never had to worry about that stupid shit. But you know, lots of you assholes are. So be safe, and we'll see you, I think, next week. Next week is my anniversary on Tuesday. And the wife hasn't given me a goddamn answer if we're going out to... I think we're going out to dinner Saturday. So...
Just assume the answer is yes.
Well, unless she tells me she wants Friday off, I'm just going to come home and sleep anyways. So, but unless she tells me she wants Friday off, we'll be doing an episode. I will communicate that to Alex, and we'll get that all figured out. But you guys have a wonderful day, night, whatever the time you're fucking watching this, and we'll see you next week.